Now, I've been playing League for a long time, over 10 years now, and as you saw in the thumbnail, this year I finally climbed to silver. And I wanted to make this video because I feel like the lower ranks, especially below gold, are overlooked a lot. Because from the higher elo players, the main advice I'll see is just pick a champion, pick a role, and make sure your monitor is turned on.
League is easy. Bro, League is a fucking joke. Put 100 hours in League. 100 hours in League, you're gold.
And I'm sure they don't mean anything by it, but I found a lot of this pretty demoralizing. Because I was trying. My monitor was on, and I felt like I was grinding and not getting anywhere. And it made me feel like shit hearing this advice that mainly just came down to make sure you have a few brain cells to rub together, and you'll just appear in gold. And if you're like me, then that wasn't the case. And I think after climbing to silver, I finally found out how to climb out of iron and bronze. And that's who this video is for. Those who have been hard stuck in iron or bronze and feel like no one is willing to actually give some advice on how to climb out of these lower ranks. So I wanted to be that for you guys. The first thing I noticed is that League is a hard game.
It's the hardest game in the world, bro. Mechanically and mentally, bro. I don't know if this ever will be a game that's harder than this, dude.
And it takes a lot of time. More than I originally thought. Because even though I have been playing for 10 years, that alone is not enough. Now for reference, I'm 20, I work a full-time job, and have a wife and 2 kids. And I don't have that much time every day to be playing. I also haven't been playing daily for that whole 10 years, because I would take several couple month-long breaks throughout that time. And recently, I realized that if you want to climb, you need at least like 35 to 100 grain in a split to actually climb, because you don't climb as fast as in other games. It's not a game where you learn one thing and then bam, you're in your next division. Now don't get me wrong, that will sometimes happen, but majority of the time, you'll learn new things, and as far as you could tell, you didn't get any better. You didn't rank up, you didn't get more LP, but you did improve as a player. And if you do that enough times, then you will see results.
Every great thing that you will ever achieve is brick by brick, day by day, night by night.
And in my experience, that number lies around 35 to 100 hard-fought serious games in a single split, which to some sounds like child's play. But for someone like me, that requires a commitment of pretty much all of my free time over the course of a month or two. And that second part is important because they need to be high-intensity focused games. You can't just be dicking around. You need to have a game plan ahead of time. For me, I made a little booklet that I called the Book of Top Lane, and it just had a list of the champions I was going to play, my win conditions, good matchups, bad matchups, and a game plan for how I was going to win lane. Then, how I would transfer that lead into a win. And I think what would be helpful to you guys is creating a high-intensity game plan of how to win each game. And you need to remember that you won't win every match, but that doesn't mean you can't fight your fucking ass off. And when you lose, remember, that's okay. Say good game in the chat, honor your opponent, and move on to the next match. Don't worry about that previous game. Don't worry about how your streak looks. Just focus on right now. Don't focus too broad. Just think, how do I win this fight? How do I win this lane? How do I transfer my lead? And how do I close out this game? Because focusing on doing a good job and being positive will make those winning streaks longer and those losing streaks easier to overcome. Now, time to focus on more gameplay. One of the first things I had to learn this year was to stop being so greedy, because I was a crazed dog. All I cared about was blood, and anytime I smelled it in the water, then that was all I cared about, and I would drop everything to focus on that kill. And it would make me constantly have these reckless deaths that just were not necessary. Because I knew better. I knew I wouldn't survive that dive. I knew I wouldn't survive that team fight. I knew I couldn't win that duel. But I would do it anyways, because I was just greedy as all get out. I was a crazed hellhound that needed to learn patience. I had to learn restraint, because if I just played a little bit smarter, then I could cut my deaths by more than half, and I could more easily shut down enemy laner snowballs. Another thing I had to learn was don't give in to the gravitational pulls that is the mid and late game ARAMs. Don't get me wrong, don't permapush, but you need to be comfortable spending most of your time by yourself in the side lanes. And don't worry about which lane, just look for the lane with no one else in it and go there. And then when there is something to actually fight for, like 3rd or 4th Dragon or Baron, possibly even a Siege if the enemy team has been caught out, then go to the mid lane to capitalize. But don't overstay. Go, get your job done, and get back to your side lane. Don't waste time. because every minute away from the side lane is gold being left on the table.
ทำงาน 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 เก็บเงิน ทำงาน เก็บเงิน ใช้หนี้ ทำงาน
Because your number one job as a League player is to be a vulture. Be an opportunistic hunter looking for the gold your team and the enemy team is leaving around, and swoop that shit up. Without being a prick, of course. Be a vacuum sucking up every last penny that gets dropped on the ground, or left in lane. And I want you to think about that before every choice. What's my chance of success, and is my purpose for doing it more than just getting a kill? Because your life is worth more than 300 gold. But if you would like me to expand on any of this, then please leave a like and a comment down below to let me know, because I would love to help y'all out if I can. But until then, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.